anything like that. I think that's great. It's fun for me.
I mean, was there like a trepidation to kind of go back to this? Because it seems like maybe the past 5-6 years, there's been people kind of going back to something that's old, bringing it back again. And Top Gun Maverick just came back.
Right, yeah.
Like just came back. So, this show coming back, was it easy for you guys to like make that decision? Like, yeah, we want to do this, or was it kind of like tough to want to?
It was an easy decision for us because Ralph and I always questioned why we went away in the first place.
Oh, so
yeah, so I mean, we knew we had unfinished business.
Oh yeah, and nobody came up and replaced us.
wow.
So it's the lane was still wide open for us. We had a lot more stories to tell, and so we embraced it. We were no problem.
And we were thrilled with the idea of being on Disney Plus versus being on the Disney Channel because we were never a kids show.
It feels like a kid show.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it was masqueraded as a kid show because it was on the Disney Channel. But we were always telling more elevated stories, and so this time around we don't necessarily have to masquerade or hide behind the concept of being a kid show. We're a family show. It's like what we found out is that our biggest audience are adults without kids. So that tells us a lot about who is responding to the show and who's watching the show. So, and the writing has always been elevated from day one. And as an artist, being on the animation side of all of this, I love, artistically responding to more elevated material. I've been in sort of the Disney feature realm for such a long time, you almost become numb to anything else. And so when you really meet good writing, you want to answer that call artistically, and that's what really makes the show work. That's how I wanted to evolve the show to be as elevated visually as the writing.
We all familiar with the stuff on social media. This show before it even got announced, it's getting revival. We all familiar with like how at least by Twitter, we've taken the screen caps of the show and just made jokes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, everything from when people do like put in the hood voices.
Oh, that's done. We died off of that stuff.
Of the stories. I mean, no, the closer we got to the launch, we realized we had this huge audience, and with it came all these expectations. It was all the, people trying to figure out what are they going to do. One rumor was Sugar Mama was dead. All kind of crazy things, and they should be older. They shouldn't come back the same age. They should be like in college or young adults. And we, that was all the chatter online. Black Twitter, Black whatever. They were just talking.
Glad that they were talking about it.
Yeah.
It's like the fact that they're just talking about it. It reminds us that okay, there's an audience out there that remembers this, that's nostalgic for this. And if the question ever came to Ralph and I, like, are we afraid revisiting this would sort of mess up anyone's legacy? We were like, no.
Yep.
Because we knew that you give us the right lane, we're gonna do it right. You know what I mean? Throw it down your throat like Barkley, as someone would say.
So plus, there was a couple of things we knew we had to go back. We got to fix. We got to change. How we portrayed the Michael character first time around. We got to deal with that. Homophobia within the black community, it's a reality. Some people try to pretend it doesn't exist. It does. We wanted to say something about it. So we got into that. Social media didn't exist the first time we did the show.
Well, at least not to the level that it is now.
Oh yeah, no, that was back then. It was just like couple of guys, and
MySpace pages.
Yeah, pretty much.
maybe. Maybe nobody was doing. No.
But I mean, I think with the advent of social media and how kids participate in social media, how they live and die on social media, we had to speak to that. And so that just simply allowed us to kind of open up the lane of what the show could speak to, and we knew we were
on our
armed.
two-way beepers then. That was
Straight up.
we were doing.
And we were armed with characters that we knew could tell the story, could tell these stories, and we brought in a whole universe of new characters to continue that theory. So, like I said, what we pride ourselves is the spectrum of blackness that we're allowed to bring in the show. Each time we bring in a new character, it's always different from the characters that exist around. So we get to build a puzzle, which we think is kind of cool. And again, it just kind of opens up, the diaspora of conversations that we can have, because as we're not some monolithic being. So this allows us to really have multiple voices on an animated show that come from this African American perspective, which is rare.
And the animation.
I'm assuming the work was different this time around because of COVID, right? Did you have to get all the voices separately? I mean,
Yeah.
was it harder for the ambiance, the camaraderie between the cast?
You know, there were challenges, but it was only of a purely technical nature because we had bad recordings and we had to record episodes multiple times, which was crazy. But you know, the cast really adapted. You know, they did it. I mean, you know, ideally, we've always liked to put at least 2 or 3 guys in the booth, and we had the ability. We were excited because we had a studio where we could have people in and be able to have them interact, and then that didn't happen because of COVID. But
They were all in.
Yeah.
You know, once we all sort of got together and knew that we were going to do the show, and then the cast read the scripts of the show that we're doing, they were all in, man. So yeah, the idea of recording a show, you know, over, you know, 3 times because of technical issues. We're in the pandemic. What else are we doing? You know what I mean? It was like, well, yeah, we're gonna all.
Yeah, and the whole production was done remotely. So now we get, you know, the challenge is now that COVID is kind of over, nobody wants to come. Nobody wants to come back into
Things
the
have
office.
loosened, and we've got a new lifestyle that we live in terms of this hybrid workforce.
Kind of like working in that pajama bottom.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
I ain't gonna lie, I did.
Come on, you almost forgot to put on your pants when you came down here this morning.
Right.
You know.
You know what I'm saying? There's levels of comfort to that. But I think we all were discovering it in the space of the pandemic. You know, at the height of the pandemic, we were all navigating
You
the
could have done
space
this
that
interview
we're.
from your home right now.
I mean, they were giving people opportunities to do like Zoom meetings.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, we deal with that right now. People are like,
still zoomed out. You know, but it's just a layer. What it shows you about animation and the medium of animation that it can survive.
Okay, all right, we hang
You
on.
know,
We like
animation
this
is
guy.
like the roach of the world, right? Can't die, can't step on it, can't burn it, can't do anything like that. Yeah, appreciate you guys. No doubt.
I know. I get it. That same thing at home.